Biman Bangladesh Airlines, NB1, commonly known as Biman Bima in Bengali, Biman, NB2, is the national flag carrier of Bangladesh. 6. With its main hub at Hazrat Shahjalal International Airport in Dhaka, the airline also operates flights from its secondary hubs at Shah Amanat International Airport in Chittagong and as well as Osmani International Airport in Sylhet. The airline provides international passenger and cargo services to multiple destinations and has air service agreements in 42 countries. 7. The headquarters of the airline, Balaka Baban, is located in Kermitala, in the northern part of Dhaka. Annual Hajj flights, transporting tourists, migrants, and non-resident Bangladeshi workers and the activities of its subsidiaries form an integral part of the corporate business of the airline.
Created in February 1972, Biman enjoyed an internal monopoly in the aviation industry of Bangladesh for 24 years, until 1996. 8. In the decades following its founding, the airline expanded its fleet and destinations, but it was adversely affected by corruption and mismanagement. At its peak, Biman operated flights to 29 international destinations, extending from New York City in the west to Tokyo in the east. The airline was wholly owned and managed by the government of Bangladesh until July 23, 2007, when it was transformed into the country's largest public limited company by the caretaker government of Bangladesh. Since becoming a public limited company in 2007, the airline has reduced staff and begun to modernize its fleet. The airline had signed a deal with Boeing to buy 10 new aircraft and options for 10 more in 2008. 9. After taking delivery of the new planes, Biman expanded its destinations and added in-flight amenities such as onboard internet, Wi-Fi, mobile telephony and live TV streams. 10. 11. During his visit to Dhaka in September 2023, French President Emmanuel Macron and then Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina announced the order of 10 Airbus A350 aircraft for Biman. The Airbus order consists of the purchase by Biman Bangladesh Airlines of 2 A350F cargo aircraft and 8 A350 passenger aircraft. The aircraft will be delivered in stages with 2 passenger A350 aircraft joining the Biman fleet first. 12. 13. Biman Bangladesh Airlines is certified as safe.
Biman Bangladesh Airlines was established on January 4, 1972 as Bangladesh's national airline under the Bangladesh Biman Ordinance, Presidential Order No. 126.1920. The initiative to launch the flag carrier was taken by 2,500 former employees, including 10 Boeing 707 commanders and 7 other former pilots of Pakistan International Airlines, who submitted a proposal to the government on December 31, 1971 following the independence of Bangladesh. 21. 6. The airline was initially called Air Bangladesh but was soon changed to Biman Bangladesh Airlines, its current name. On February 4, 1972, Biman started its domestic services, initially linking Dhaka with Chittagong, Jessore and Sylhet, using a single Douglas DC-3 acquired from India. 23. Following the crash of this DC-3 on February 10, 1972, near Dhaka, during a test flight. 24. 2 Fokker F-27s belonging to Indian Airlines and supplied by the Indian government entered the fleet as a replacement. 23. Shortly afterwards, additional capacity was provided with the incorporation of a Douglas DC-6, loaned by the World Council of Churches. 23. Which was in turn replaced with another Douglas DC-6, a DC-6B model leased from Trollair, to operate the Dhaka-Calcutta route. 25. On March 4, 1972, Biman started its international operations with a weekly flight to London using a Boeing 707 chartered from British Caledonian. 26. The short-haul fleet was supplemented by a Fokker F-27 from India on March 3, 1972. The aircraft was employed on a daily scheduled flight between Calcutta and Dhaka on 28 April 1972. 21. 7. 3 additional Fokker F-27s were acquired during March and September of that year. 21. 6. In the first year of operation, Biman operated 1,079 flights carrying just over 380,000 passengers. 4 Fokker F-27s joined the fleet in 1973, enabling Biman to double the frequency of the Kolkata flight to a twice-daily service. 21. 7. A Boeing 707 was added to the fleet in September and the flight to London became twice weekly, while a Chittagong, Kolkata flight also began operating. 21. 7 in 1974. Operations were extended to Kathmandu, February, Bangkok, November, and Dubai, December. 21. 7 in 1976, Biman sold two of its Fokker F-27s and bought another Boeing 707 to extend international services to Abu Dhabi, Karachi and Mumbai. 21. 7 Singapore was added to Biman's list of international destinations, when a third Boeing 707 was purchased in February 1977, followed by Jeddah, Doha and Amsterdam the following year, which also saw the purchase of its fourth Boeing 707. 21. 7 in 1977. Biman was converted into a public sector corporation to be governed by a board of directors appointed by the government. 21. 7 The airline broke even for the first time in 1977. 78, and made a profit the following year. 21. 8 international destinations expanded to include Kuala Lumpur, Athens, Muscat and Tripoli in 1979, followed by Yangon, Tokyo and Dhahran in 1980. 21. 7 Biman took delivery of its first 85-seater Fokker F-28-4000 in 1981. 27. In 1983, 3 Douglas DC-10s joined the fleet and the airline started to phase out the Boeing 707s. 21. 7. 28. The flight network expanded further to include Baghdad, 1983, Paris, 1984, and Bahrain, 1986. 21. 7 on 5. August 1984, Biman faced its worst accident ever when a Fokker F-27 flying in from Chittagong crashed near Dhaka, killing all 49 on board. 29. The long-haul fleet was then supplemented by the purchase of 2 new Airbus A310s in 1996, followed by the addition of 2 more in 2000, from Singapore Airlines and Air Jamaica, and another in 2003.
Retired Senior Secretary Mostafa Kamal Uddin replaced former Senior Secretary Sajid Al-Hassan, who had completed his term, as the chairman of the airline in January 2023. Additional Secretary to the government Shafiul Azim is the Chief Executive Officer, CEO, and Managing Director, MD. 30. Previously, Kevin John Steele, 31, who served as MD and CEO of Biman from March 2013 to April 2014, 32. 33, was the first foreign national in the airline's history to be appointed CEO and MD of Biman. 34. 35, he was chosen from a pool of 42 local and foreign candidates after a competitive selection process. 35, Steele was a British citizen who had many years of experience working in management and administrative positions at British Airways and other airlines around the world. 36. 37, Steele resigned from Biman's MD and CEO positions in December 2013 citing health issues. 38. Steele left office on 19 April 2014. 39. Kyle Haywood took office as Biman's MD and CEO on January 5, 2015. A British national, Haywood was the second foreign national to hold the airline's CEO position after Kevin Steele. The airline was wholly owned by the Bangladeshi government through the Bangladesh Biman Corporation since its inception. In 1977, Biman was converted into a public sector corporation which afforded Biman limited autonomy, led by a government-appointed board of directors. 7. The authorized share capital was increased to BDT 2 billion in 1987, and Biman was transformed into a public limited company, the largest in Bangladesh, in 2007. During the late 1980s, Hossein Mohammad Ershad, president of Bangladesh at the time, served as president of Biman. After an early period of expansion and growth, Biman entered an era of nosediving profits and slow growth, exacerbated by incompetent and corrupt management, who padded purchases, falsified repair bills, and kept unprofitable routes in operation for political reasons. 43. 44. Research conducted in 1996 found that Biman had 5,253 non-flying personnel, 30% more than Singapore Airlines, a carrier who operated a fleet almost 10 times the size of Biman's. The report described Biman as poorly managed, overstaffed, undercapitalized, and subject to excessive political interference in its day-to-day management that in the 1992-93 fiscal year, accounts under the Ministry of Civil Aviation and Tourism revealed that BDT 22 million in tax was not paid to the government. The audit carried out in 1999 also showed that Biman was owed BDT 2.2 million by travel agents from the proceeds of ticket sales, most likely with the collusion of Biman officials. 46. Additionally, BDT 2.4 million was overpaid as incentive commissions to the sales agents in violation of Biman policies. In 2007, the caretaker government launched an anti-corruption drive. This was shortly followed by the forced retirement of 35 other employees and officials, some of whom were close aides of Shamim Iskander. 47. In 2008, Iskander, younger brother of former Premier Khalida Zia, was sent to jail over charges of concealing information regarding his wealth and not for his connection with Biman. Faced with growing losses from the late 1990s onwards, 51, the government offered 40% of Biman to foreign airlines in 2004, hoping a buyer would take over the management of the carrier. However, the proposal demanded that many decision-making rights remain within the Bangladesh government, and the offer was ignored by outside airlines. A similar initiative in 1998 cost Biman $1.6 million. In May 2007, the caretaker government approved plans to turn Biman into a public limited company with shareholding split between 7 public sector organizations. 56. As a part of the restructuring, the government put in place a voluntary retirement scheme, VRS, to reduce the man-equipment ratio, MAR, of 367 to 1, ratio of manpower to aircraft. 57. The industry average at the time was 200 to 1, and other Asian airlines operated with MARs of about 150 to 1. 57. The VRS provided compensation based on length of service, at a cost to the government of over BDT 2.97 billion borrowed from the World Bank. 57. Biman management expected to reduce its workforce by 1,600, but 2,162 applications were received, many from employees who expected to be dismissed with little or no severance pay if the quota was not met. Biman accepted between 1,863, 58, 59, 60, and 1877 applications, 61, and affirmed that key personnel would not be allowed to leave the organization via VRS. 57. On 23 July 2007, 62, Biman Bangladesh Airlines became the largest public limited company in Bangladesh. 42, earlier suggestions that the airline should be renamed Bangladesh Airlines were rejected. 63, the government is the sole shareholder of the 1.5 billion shares, but intends to offer 49% to the private sector while retaining majority ownership. 64, 65, the previous managing director, Dr. Abdul Momin, was appointed as the chief executive officer, CEO, and managing director of the new organization. The 6 directors were appointed from the Ministries of Energy, Commerce, Finance, Civil Aviation, Foreign Affairs, and the Cabinet Division, with the Cabinet Secretary taking on the role as chairman of the Board of Directors. The 6 secretaries and a joint secretary to the Civil Aviation Ministry were made the 7 shareholders of the new PLC. 64. In September 2008, the government appointed Air Commodore Zahid Qudus, RETD, to replace Dr. Momin as CEO. 66. From 2002 to 2005 Qudus had been chair of the Civil. In 2013, Biman signed agreements with SETA, 83, and Mercator, 84, to provide infrastructure support and revenue accounting services to the airline. In 2014, Biman launched an advanced seat reservation system on its website. The airline also offers an online meal selection option, where the passenger can choose from diabetic meals, vegetarian meals, Asian vegetarian meals, child meals and Muslim meals, that will be served on board. 85. In collaboration with a third-party service provider, Biman allows passengers to request business class upgrades as well as adjacent extra seats after booking an economy class fare. A 2-class service, J and Y, is operated on most of Biman's aircraft. The business class cabin on its Boeing 777 is arranged in a 2-3-2 configuration, while economy class cabin is set up in a 3-3-3 configuration. Biman has two types of business class layout in its Boeing 787. The 787-8 variant has its business class cabin arranged in a 2-2-2 configuration, 87. On the other hand, the business class cabin on the 787-9 variant is set up in a more comfortable 1-2-1 configuration, 88. All 787s have their economy class cabin arranged in a 3-3-3 configuration. Also, the 787-9s on its fleet are the first to introduce a premium economy class into Biman service. The narrow-body Boeing 737-800S business class is set up in a 2-2 configuration while economy class is in a 3-3 arrangement. Business class passengers of Biman Bangladesh Airlines have exclusive access to airport and hotel lounges around the globe. Biman relaunched its in-flight magazine and rebranded as Bahanga in September 2013. The bi-monthly magazine, previously known as Dignata, and before that Jatri, is published by Subcontinental Media Group. The magazine is available in both Bengali and English, covering topics about Bangladesh and Biman's destinations. 90 English and Bengali language newspapers are also available in business class on board the aircraft. Citation needed. Biman launched in-flight duty-free sales in March 2014, branded as Biman Boutique. 91 Duty-free products include perfumes, cosmetics, jewelry, watches, children's gifts, chocolates, tobacco, etc. 92. In 2014, Biman launched amenity kits for children on board, which include coloring books, stationery, dolls and jigsaw puzzle. 85. Biman doesn't usually serve alcoholic beverages on its flights in economy class, however, business class passengers have exclusive access to lounges around the globe. 89. 93. The newer Boeing 777s and 787s are equipped with modern in-flight entertainment systems. Every seat is fitted with personal touch-screen displays which are loaded with movies, songs and games. It also has high-resolution moving maps and live flight information. All this is available in two languages, English and Bengali. 94. Starting with the newly delivered Boeing 787 Dreamliners, Biman Bangladesh Airlines launched onboard internet, Wi-Fi, mobile telephony, movie streaming and live TV streaming services in September 2018 in most of the new planes in its fleet. 25 satellites were deployed for this purpose. New Panasonic X3 seatback monitors with touch screens from Panasonic Avionics offer passengers more than 100 on-demand movies, music and video games. Onboard touch-screen 3D route maps, the latest addition to the aviation industry, show the various structures of the territories the aircraft flies over. 11. Since March 2017, Biman started to offer exciting new and diverse meal and beverage options in its fly. An agreement was signed with Amadeus in 2007 to upgrade Biman's ticketing system with an e-ticketing solution to comply with IATA rules, which set out a deadline of December 31, 2007 for all member airlines to switch over their ticketing systems. E-ticketing allowed Biman to reduce costs while eliminating the stress of lost tickets for passengers. 99. In 2005, Biman had briefly stopped using the Amadeus ticketing system when the government suspended the operation of a local Amadeus subsidiary following a court order, after allegations of money laundering. 100. The suspension, however, lasted only a month, and was lifted after the writ was appealed in the High Court. 101. In 2013, Biman signed an agreement with German ticketing company Han Air, enabling Biman's tickets to be purchased from anywhere around the world. Biman also operates a cargo service using the cargo holds of its passenger aircraft to ship freight to international destinations. 103. It has established a cargo village at Hazrat Shahjalal International Airport in Dhaka where the cargo is packaged and labeled before being loaded onto its aircraft for shipment overseas. 104. The air cargo industry in Bangladesh grew by 16.5% in the fiscal year 2003-04. Private operators increased their share of the cargo market by 10.6% and were responsible for handling 24% of the total 99,000 tons of cargo at the expense of both Baiman and foreign airlines, which saw a reduction in their shares by 4.6% and 6% respectively. Foreign airlines handled 47% of the total cargo, with Baiman taking on the remaining 29% in the fiscal year 2003-04, 105. In March 2018, Baiman Bangladesh Airlines received ACC3 and RA3, regulatory agent for third country, certifications from the European Union allowing direct cargo flights to all destinations in Europe. ACC3 stands for air cargo or mail carrier operating into Europe from a third country airport. These certifications were successfully obtained after the government of Bangladesh upgraded Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport, HSIA, and improved its security, including setting up explosive detection systems, EDS, explosive detection dogs, EDD, and explosive trace detection, EDT, machines. Due to the improved security standards, Baiman Cargo Village and Dhaka Airport, HSIA, also got the ACC3 and RA3 certifications simultaneously, and an RA3 compliant warehouse was built at HSIA for Europe-bound cargo freight where entry is restricted for everyone apart from accredited Baiman staff.